Hey guys, it's Jessica. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. I'm glad you're here. I'm having so much fun interviewing these businesses, and I really think you'll find the information we share to be of great value. My business is Organic Girl Health Coaching, and I get to help moms go from not feeling so good to feeling amazing. We do this with using food and herbs. We're detoxing, we're cleansing at the cellular level. If you have any questions, you can reach out on my website, jessicadavisrn.com, or through social media. I am Organic Girl Health Coaching. Have a blessed day.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Organic Girl Health Coaching Podcast. My name is Jessica Davis. Here at Organic Girl Health Coaching Podcast, we are all about helping holistic-minded moms find businesses that align with them. And so today I am interviewing Claire with Platinum Body Sculpting. Yay! Hey Claire, how are you doing?
Wonderful. It is beautiful here, and I am loving the sunshine.
Oh, good. Yes. So I wanted to interview Claire. Of course, she's a business owner, and I've known her for many years. We probably won't say how many, but since she was a teenager. She is one of my younger sister's best friends, and she's also a nurse. She's a mom, and so I wanted her to talk to you guys about what she does and what she can do for, again, holistic-minded moms and their health. So, Claire, can you tell us a little bit about your 3Bs, your bio, your beliefs, and your business?
So I started my entrepreneurship about 4.5 years ago. Prior to that, I've been in the healthcare field since I was 14 years old. I started out as a dietary aide in a local nursing home. And then I went to the Voc Tech program in high school to get my CNA, and then onto nursing school. I got my LPN. In between there, I got married and then separated and became a single mom almost the entire time. Well, it was the entire time that I was going through LPN school. And afterwards, I actually did a bridge program to get my RN. And I went all the way through I finished all of my courses, and it was an online program. And then COVID hit, and none of the hospitals were allowing clinicals. And then the school that I was going to actually lost their accreditation. So I literally am a weekend of clinical checkoffs and an NCLEX away from my RN. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm done with nursing, traditional nursing. And it got brought to my attention about body sculpting, and someone said, hey, you would be really, really good at body sculpting. And I had never even heard of such a thing. So I started researching it and spent a lot of time at the library going through the research studies that really validate it. And so I took several courses.
Awesome.
And from the courses, I started offering more medical device stuff initially. And then I was introduced to wood sculpt. My daughter's dad is Colombian, and wood sculpt originated in the country of Colombia. And so that really,
I didn't know that.
fascinated me. And I really felt like I wanted to bring that into my business. And so I went, to another state and got certified in that. And then from there, I've done additional wood sculpt certifications, and then Ice Sculpt. And most recently, I've been working with the company Ashley Black, who makes fascia blasters and different fascia related products. And now that I've taken her course, I've had the opportunity to go back and now continue to go to those courses, but in a coaching level. So that's been really, really dang awesome.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And so I am very blessed that almost every single month I get to attend continuing education and learn more and more about fascia and the lymphatic system and the whole body overall, which is something that we really need to get back to focusing on, because we are very much a country of pharmaceuticals and surgery. and it's completely wreaking havoc on our bodies. You know, there's a time and a place for everything, but I think that we should look back to what we're putting in our bodies and what we're doing to our bodies before we resort to that. So I think that's probably why I really pushed myself to take this career path and this leap of faith, because I just felt like in traditional nursing, I was just giving orders of the doctor and steroid shots and surgeries, you know, assisting in surgeries and things like that, that so much is derived from lack of nutrients. And, you know, our fascia literally is the connective tissue that holds our entire body together underneath the skin. And we're having so much scar tissue and things that are causing pain. And we're just going into surgery to reduce pain, but coming out with even more long-term side effects because it's more scar tissue. So, yeah.
Correct. Absolutely.
Definitely that. I think that's
Yeah.
what continues to drive me, and my client base now is really down to where I am looking to serve the community. They are definitely my ideal clients that are walking through my doors now that I continue to focus, you know, smaller and smaller on a specific body system versus more of the aesthetics, which kind of sets me apart in my industry because most focus on the aesthetics versus what it's actually doing for the body. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned the lymph system, and I think about a lot about the lymph system being kind of it can be stagnant, right? And it kind of collects all those toxins. So what do your services do for that, and how can they assist
so I have several
with the
services like
lymphatics?
wood sculpt and metal and ice sculpt, which are much more geared towards helping that lymphatic system activate. A lot of it
Mm-hmm.
is inflammation. You know, we have it's differing between what
Mm-hmm.
study you look at, but between 2 and 3 liters of lymphatic fluid that's supposed to be flowing through our bodies throughout the day.
Yeah.
But because it is the garbage disposal of the body, and we're literally just putting garbage into our bodies, it's becoming stagnant, and the body's like, whoa, wait a second, I can't process all this. And, well, the lymphatic system, a lot of it actually flows through the fascia system as well. So that fascia tissue, you've got then,
Okay.
you know, your lymphatic system is stagnant, and then you add in your fascia that's bound, and that superhighway isn't allowed to flow. So you remove those barriers that are being caused by that restricted fascia. That helps open up the lymphatic system. But that's more on the scope of doing more of a physical modality with the fascia tools, which also helps open up that lymphatic system. But specifically, if you're looking just for kind of a lymphatic stimulation, and it's a much more relaxing and comfortable treatment with very little discomfort, the wood sculpt and ice sculpt are probably the two best services for
Okay. Um, and you also utilize, I know, some red
that.
light
Yes.
therapy too, and I've been getting into that a lot
Yes.
lately.
Yeah. So
So
I
tell us.
actually am sitting here in front of my massage table that I use on my clients, and I've got my mat here that actually has the red light therapy and
Okay.
the infrared as well. And so I also
Okay.
have a lamp that I use to put over clients. What I love about the mat is that it's ideal to have that light spectrum within 6 inches of the skin. And so if I'm working on a
Okay.
client, I'm obviously going to be in the way of that lamp. And so I'm not going to be able to get it as close to 6 inches to their skin. That's going to be optimal. But yeah, I mean, if you are working the connective tissue like I am, or you're tightening the skin and you need to activate that collagen and the elastin and the fibroblasts, and you need all of the healing aspect as well, I mean, it only complements red light therapy, and infrared only complements the healing of the body. So it's definitely, we're blessed because here in Overland Park, which isn't too far away from us, we have Sunlighten, which is a really top-notch
Mm-hmm.
infrared company. And in all of their saunas, they actually have red light as well. And they have all three
Yeah.
spectrums built into all of their cabin saunas. At my house, I have their solo pod, which I actually get to lay in,
Mm-hmm.
and the bed that I lay on and the dome has infrared, but it's only far infrared versus the mid and the near, like their cabins have. But
Near as well.
man, if everybody could have access to that, whether it's, so many say, oh, I have a sauna at my gym. It's either a dry sauna or, a steam sauna. It's typically not infrared, but
Yeah.
it's coming around so much more
Right.
now. So yeah, it would be amazing if we
Yeah.
could have access to that.
For sure. And I always say to people that there's no substitute really for just actually getting out in the sun.
And in the
But,
soil.
in the winter, yeah, exactly. But in the winter, it can be difficult
Right.
when we don't have as much sun. It can also, and I'm just going to talk from my experience as a nurse working 12 plus hour shifts. There are days, I've talked about this before, where I don't get to see the sun. So I think having those devices or those sauna, rooms would be super helpful for times like that. And, because we are speaking to moms, you and I both know how crazy our lives can be. And sometimes, we don't, especially when you have little ones. I still remember the breastfeeding days, the diaper changing days. And if you have a few of them who are young, you're not able to take all the time that you would like to be able to go out in the sun and then do your, fascia stuff and then do this and then do that. So I think for a lot of those moms that are trying to kind of combine some of these things into one, I think coming to you is a great option,
I
because
agree.
you're gonna do it all.
Yeah. So having
Yeah,
access
they're
to
gonna
all
get
of that in
they're
one
gonna get
place
the red
is
light.
really beautiful. Because you're going to be able to get
Yeah.
access to not only the physical, but then the light, and just the alone time that you feel like you're getting. You feel like you're
Yeah.
getting your self care in, but you're also getting something that actually you leave feeling better. And the continual treatments, you feel better and better every time, because we're actually healing the body, which we're not allowed to say. But we are. We're doing
Yes.
healing versus just treating. So yeah, you feel better and better versus every time
Yeah.
you come in, you're back at square one. So, or you're
Yeah.
going to your local physician, and every time you go, there's studies that say that you're healthier if you don't go get your physical every year, because every year you go and they give you another medication.
They find
Yes.
something
Yeah.
that's wrong, and then not only the medication, but now that I'm looking more into the mental emotional aspect, it puts that fear, and even the thought of, oh, I have
Yep.
this, changes your body chemistry as well. So yeah, releasing that, and you can release a lot of those emotions through that fascia work is what I'm finding, and I
Yeah, I
believe.
keep the tissues
So
by the
yeah,
bedside.
do you have people cry sometimes or get emotional when you're doing some of the work on
Absolutely.
them?
That's what I focus on in my
Yeah.
consultations is you're going to have a physical release, you're going to have an emotional release, you may even have a spiritual release. Our bodies, there's studies coming out all the time on fascia, because it's such a new system that we've had forever. But in the cadaver studies in chiropractic school and MD school, they would just throw that connective tissue away. They wouldn't even study it. So that connective tissue
Cut
is your
through
fascia, and your
it.
fascia is made up of primarily collagen fibers, and now they're finding hyaluronic acid in it as well. It should have elastin. However, during an acute injury phase, a lot of times that elastin doesn't accompany the collagen. So that's where you get that built up of scar tissue that gets worse and worse and worse over time. And so breaking it down. But yeah, we actually hold on to emotional trauma in that fascia tissue, because there's a memory that happened with that occurrence of that fascia becoming bound. Our hips are so tight
Yeah.
So many women are now dealing with TMJ. The jaw is directly connected to the hips. So when you're experiencing these things,
Interesting.
it's very fascinating how the meridians all lie within the body, and kind of that road, that pathway of how the fascia connects around the hips, which almost follows that SI joint into the psoas, and connects there.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. I like I said, I keep tissues by the bedside because it's phenomenal what people will experience and feel. Just and it's a good cry. It's not, a bad cry. It's usually a good cry,
Yeah.
releasing
A
something
release.
that they've been holding
Mm-hmm.
on to. And
Mm-hmm.
they're releasing that tight, restricted fascia as well. So they leave here feeling more flexible and more mobile, and you're enhancing that circulation, both lymph and blood, to those areas, and they feel, sensation where they haven't felt any, not even pain. They don't even feel pain there anymore. So, yeah, it's
Wow.
it's really
Yeah.
beautiful, and I think that going to the beliefs, I feel like I'm what I'm doing is literally healing a community of people that haven't felt a release and haven't felt any type of help from any of the other things that they've been doing. And it's not something that is a cure-all. It definitely, incorporate it with your meditation, incorporate it with your chiropractic, incorporate it with your yoga or your Pilates. You absolutely have to do multiple modalities. Continue drinking your water. You can't just stop doing one thing to
Mm-hmm.
start doing something else. But it definitely is something that can definitely help improve your quality of daily life, which has been really my motivating factor.
Yeah. And again, I go back to, thinking about moms who, in the hospital and seeing the patients and clients that I see, so many moms are on
Yeah,
antidepressants, or they're on, hormone, or, yes, sometimes hormones or thyroid medication. So, and maybe they're, medicating with alcohol or coffee. I'm not saying that all those things are bad in themselves, but, using them the way we use them sometimes is not very healthy. But so yeah, we are, I think, more conditioned to holding things inside, or just tightening, or again with the specific medications, just
yep,
blocking things, or synthetically
right.
stimulating things. And so, coming to see you and doing the work, um, and having that work done with them, may be a whole new experience
Yeah,
for them, right?
I had
Being able
yeah,
to open up
I had
and,
a client after her first session with me several weeks ago. She's a younger a younger woman in her early 30s, and she experienced an emotional release later that evening. She was out to dinner, and on her way home from dinner, she
mm,
just started bawling. And I'm glad that, I'd had that conversation with her, because she said, if we hadn't talked about that, my fiance would have thought I was mad at him, or I would have thought, man, what's going on? But
yeah,
because she was more prepared and feeling
right.
like she kind of knew that it was a possibility. But yeah, you could, when you have that buildup of pharmaceuticals in your lymphatic system, they're not supposed to necessarily build up in that way. They're supposed to build up in a therapeutic level, but they're not supposed to stay stagnant within your lymphatic
Mm-hmm.
system for as long as they are. But they are, because we are just putting so much into our bodies, and our bodies aren't able to process it. It takes the liver like 30
Mm-hmm.
plus hours to process alcohol. That's a long time
Yeah,
for our bodies to get rid of
that's a
something.
long
And
time.
then when our livers are backed up, and there's different conversations about detoxing, and our livers are already detoxing, our kidneys are already detoxing, we don't need that extra. But when all we're doing is feeding our bodies full of
Mm,
full
yeah.
of junk, um
I can go on that one for a while.
yeah,
Yep.
so
Yeah. Yep.
they need that boost. And it may not be a specific
Hmm.
detox where they're heavy into a detox, but everybody's different, and everybody's situation is different. And yeah, I think even just getting enough water can sometimes detox our bodies because it's allowing
Yeah.
that fluid to help flow a lot better. But yeah.
Yeah. On that subject then with the water, when someone comes to see you, what's your recommendation? And I know you also give out the
Yeah.
collagen shots too. Do you want to talk about the water and the
Yeah.
collagen
So
recommendations?
I don't I have just a water filtration system that my wonderful man installed for
Hmm.
me, that I got from Costco. And it's a reverse osmosis, and then it has the additional alkaline filter. And what was actually really cool is that we just bought a pH tester. And my water has been sitting in my glass bottle at home, and it still, after a week of sitting there, was testing at 10.5. So I'd be curious straight on tap what it's
Wow.
testing at. But I recommend good water, whether you have a premium water filtration
Okay.
system or something that's at least filtering out, like the chlorine and the fluoride. But even more so if we
Yeah.
can filter out quite a bit more, like the lead that's, inevitably in our water and the pharmaceuticals and things like that. But um,
Right.
a good live water is optimal because then you're actually hydrating your cells at like tens of thousands of times more effectively.
Uh, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I always encourage minerals, electrolytes, trace minerals, not just water, because I actually had a client that came in to see me and they started 75 hard and they were drinking a gallon of water. They just all of a sudden started drinking a gallon of water a day and they ended up in the hospital because they completely depleted their body of everything that
Oh
it
my
needed,
gosh.
all those minerals and electrolytes. And so I definitely encourage 2 liters of water per day. But I really focus more on, I want you hydrating with at least 2 liters of fluid,
Hydrated.
not necessarily just
Yeah.
water. Hydrate yourself with your watermelons, your fruits, your vegetables, things like that, celery, cucumbers,
Bone
yeah,
broth.
bone broth, which is a natural collagen. So I love my collagen supplement because I I physically feel different. I look different when I actually take it. And some people can't palate bone broth, but it is easily accessible.
Hmm.
There's so many options out there now, basically within anybody's budget. Um, but your fascia is primarily made up of collagen. So if you're going to be working on your fascia, you need to be doing it from all avenues possible. So whether that's, through light therapy, through physical modalities, through ingestion and digestion, but you just got to find what works for you. But I love the collagen, and I love a good collagen that's going to be bioavailable in the body. And so many of the collagen products out there on the market are just gimmicky because it's a buzzword right now,
You think
and
so?
it starts to
Yeah.
oxidize the moment that it's exposed to air. So all of these multi-vial containers and things like that are just not nearly as effective. So you just got to do your
Yeah.
research and find out
Interesting.
what works best for your body. And if the
Yeah.
Costco collagen works great for you, then keep using it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I have always told people. And especially when I was doing my corporate coaching is, if you're going to implement something, try it for you can try it for a week, but try it for a month and then take it back out of your diet. And because sometimes people don't notice the subtle things that change when they,
Yeah,
implement
until they
something
stop.
new until they take
Yeah,
it back out. I
yeah,
found that. Yeah. Yeah. So, so take it and then take it out and then see how your body feels, and even keeping, like a journal
right.
of how you're feeling in the morning and
Yeah.
evening can be a good idea too. So, have you had moms or dads or people in general who have had different surgeries, whether it's, like C-sections or, breast surgeries and stuff? And how have they done with these services?
So my primary clientele are women over 40, and women of retirement age. I do have a sprinkle of men, and I do have a sprinkle of, moms that have kids that are younger than teenagers. But I feel like typically moms are on a budget, and my service is more of a lifestyle service and at a premium cost. And so my primary clientele are not moms of young children. However, because these products can be used in your home, my goal through social media is to be able to continue to share and show that this can be done at your house, and I say that in my consultations when clients come to see me. You don't have to spend a single dollar with me. Or you can let me teach you, have your husband or your companion come in, or a friend come in with you. My time, you've paid for my time. We will do whatever you want to do with that time that you have. And let me teach you and your partner how to do it on each other. And then you can do it on yourselves at home, which is a lot more cost friendly. But I feel like moms that are coming in from C-sections are typically, 10, 20-year-old scars, which still have a lot of life left in them. But, I'm working on a client who's 76 and has had multiple surgeries to the abdominal area and has scoliosis, severe scoliosis. And it's beautiful because just the amount where she's able to stand taller, because we're so forward, hypoextended and hyperextended on the backside. Even our young kids now, because of electronics, are getting that way. And just opening up that diaphragm. So we haven't talked about, breathing, but breathing is number one. Oxygen is life. We all should know how to diaphragmic breathe, be breathing diaphragmically versus chest breathing, which is more of a trauma breathing.
Just chest.
And so I'm trying to teach my own children this as well. But so many women. Also, plastic surgery is really popular right now. So I have a big plastic surgery clientele.
Right.
They're probably my youngest clientele because they're getting a lot of BBLs and a lot of liposuction. And if you're not, all of that fascia is being destroyed. It's insane. It's just being completely just it's awful. But if you catch it soon, what's happening is all that collagen, so that collagen starts to get tighter and tighter, and more collagen comes to the injury site. And what happens is, because that elastin's not following it, because it's like in just, emergency mode, it just piles up. It's almost like, I don't want to say it's like a blood clot, but if you've seen pictures of how a blood clot gets bigger and bigger and bigger, all those red blood cells just keep compounding until it completely occludes that circulation. But that's what's happening, is that collagen is just creating a tighter and tighter ball, and it needs to be more of like a silk sheet around the tissues. And then it's adhesing to, if you've got liposuction, you've got all these little insertion sites where the catheter was inserted. Well, now it's almost like you've got a straw. I can almost feel what feels like a straw underneath the tissue where that catheter has gone in. Well, it's created scar tissue down that abdominal area, or on the back, or on the thighs, wherever the catheter was inserted. But if you catch it early enough, you really help decrease that fibrosis that occurs before it gets too significant. But I always say it's never too late to come in. It's never too late to do fascia work on yourself. It's best to be preventative or proactive. But it's great to be regenerative in that phase as well, because you're only going to be positively affecting that body, because it's like a puppet, those puppet strings, that fascia, you could have a fascial adhesion in the right shoulder, and it's causing foot pain on the left bottom of your foot, because it truly is all connected. It's a beautiful matrix. But if it's affecting one area, it is 100% negatively affecting another area.
Yeah. What do you think, or what have you seen maybe with a lot of the moms who are getting like the lip fillers and the like cheek injections? Do you think that's having an effect? And I know this is a touchy subject, and for a lot of, even in the holistic health circle, I'm finding, but it needs to be addressed, because if there's something that, that can be done to help, we need to talk about it. So
you've got
what are
these
your thoughts?
lines that start on the forehead. You've got the lines that start, in between what they call the 11s. We get the turkey gaggles, things like that. And it's because that fascia is like, no, your skin's falling because you're dehydrated. You're eating nothing but sugar and carbs and caffeine. So your cells are dehydrated. So the benefit of those aesthetic treatments is, hey, you don't have to have as many lifestyle changes. Just come and get, filler or Botox, Sculptra. Sculptra is probably, in my ignorant opinion, because I really have no understanding of injectables to any degree, but it's probably the most holistic because it actually builds collagen within the cellular structure. So it's a lot more long lasting. But there are so many things out there, and anytime you inject your tissue, you're going to have a trauma response, whether it's bleeding or a scab or whatever it may be. And instead of going in there and physically repairing the fascia through fascial stretching, yoga, face stretching, or actual physical modalities,
you got it.
So your fascia is like, it starts to then adheres to the underlying structures, the muscles, the bones, the tendons, the ligaments, and then creates those lines because it's just trying to find a place to grab onto. And so it's grabbing on and taking those lines. Same thing, you can see it a lot more with those nasolabial lines, where they become, because that skin starts sagging and then you start to get those lines and so forth. But you definitely are going to risk, if you're getting injections, you're definitely risking those injections not lasting as long, even just through exercise. Talking about the infrared sauna, people are really getting into doing the infrared sauna. Well, their Botox is not even taking, not only because they've been getting it for so long, and now all the studies are showing that if you get it for so long, it starts becoming ineffective, but also through that heat exposure and through that increased metabolism and circulation, whether you're exercising aggressively or you're sweating aggressively or you're physically moving that injection fluid around it, you're risking it not lasting as long or not taking whatsoever. So it's, do you want to go in today and get injections and then have to go back and back and back? Or do you want to do fascia work and stretching work, and change your lifestyle to be, more whole foods based and healthy minded, which is also a continual thing that you have to do the rest of your life. Nothing that you do can just be done once. So unless you get a facelift at 90 and then you don't have to go back. But if you get it in your
probably
40s,
not at that point. Maybe.
Yeah, if you get surgery done in your 40s, a breast augmentation is supposedly only good for about 10 years. So you're going to have to go back and get that either, another lift, and then you've got even more scarring that happens with a lift versus implants. So I don't necessarily not advocate for surgery versus non-surgical, injectables versus non-invasive, but I'm in the non-invasive spectrum, field. So I definitely feel like going that route first is optimal. But then there's people that have severe weight loss through, whether it's surgery or the new shots that are loved by so many people. Anyways,
it's all the craze in the hospital. I feel like half the nurses I work with are, oh my gosh,
it's insane. And then thyroid cancer is on the rise all of a sudden, and now there's
all the cancers on
malabsorption, having to go in for a full body nip and tuck because you've got such significant skin that doesn't know how to recoup that quickly. With steady weight loss, at least your body is able to be like, okay, we're going to steadily tighten up, because the body knows how to naturally do that. But with a 3-month, 100-pound weight change, the body just can't keep up with that. And then you're going in for, surgery to fix that. And so, yeah, I don't know how I just started talking about that, but
Yeah. I wanted to back up because I thought this was interesting, and I hadn't thought of it in this way when you were talking about the different injectables and things, and how doing the healthy things like maybe the gua sha or the red light or the sauna or just I
yeah,
do face yoga. Those things are healthy, right? It's
right,
good to do those things and move the fascia, move the lymph. But those make your injectables less
correct.
effective. So is that what you're saying? So it's crazy. So if you want to do the injectables, but then be healthy and do healthy things, you're making that money that you just
Exactly.
spent less
Exactly.
less
Yeah.
effective. I just hadn't thought of it in that way. So
Yeah.
that's a hard one. That's a hard one because I know at 47, I'm tempted, of course, to have little
Right.
things here and there, but um, I'm not going to. I'm really working, with the other stuff. And when I get back home to Kansas City, I'll be working with you again. But but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a hard thing, I think, for us as women, moms. Our bodies go through
Yeah.
so much, and
And then
I was a
yeah,
mom at 20.
we're feeling like we're competing with
Yeah.
all of these other
Yeah.
women that are photoshopped, that are social media influencers, that are
Yep.
filtered. And,
Yep.
we want to do everything we can to keep our partner. We want them,
Yeah.
we're so focused.
Find
Huh?
one. I said,
Yeah.
find one. That's
Yeah,
my
exactly. We're in
category.
such
Yeah.
this craze of we have
Yeah.
to, as women, we have to look aesthetically
Mhm.
pleasing. We can't go out in our sweatpants like men can and look the best of the best in their gray sweatpants. If we do that, we're looked at
Mhm.
like bums.
It's
It's
different.
just so funny. Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
It is very
Yeah.
interesting to observe.
So it
Yeah.
is beautiful to
Yeah.
see the newfound self-love, loving ourselves, taking care of ourselves. And truly, if we start this practice at birth, if we come from a generation of parents that are all about self-preservation and self-care and nourishing our bodies, our growing bodies. I just read something, not that it's necessarily applicable, but supposedly we are only we only have so many fat cells, and that we get them all at birth and through puberty. 2 times we get fat cells. So when we're
Okay.
and so it got my mind thinking, okay, so at birth, when these kids are literally drinking orange soda out of their bottles and eating,
Mhm.
McDonald's and all of these other fast food chains as a regular diet, not even just as a treat. But yeah, I mean, the amount of fat cells that they're already starting with, already getting, is significantly more than someone else. And so the risk of obesity down the line is so much greater. And this is just me ignorantly thinking,
It's
in
higher.
my head that this is kind of the line that they're taking. Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's so incredibly sad to see that, these kids don't have a fighting chance
Yeah.
because of the lack of knowledge that we as parents have. I had my first kid at 18. I was
Absolutely.
so ignorant, so
Yeah.
ignorant. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we rely on the healthcare field. Again, why I came into this field, because we rely on our people that went to school for 10 plus years to give us all of our
Mhm.
knowledge, when
Mhm.
they're smoking a cigarette on their lunch break and they're eating fast food every day for their meals, or they're not eating at all because they don't have time, or yeah, they're just chugging the coffee. Yeah, it's
Yeah. They don't see, and again, I can say this because I work with doctors every day. They don't see um the medical system and what you eat as kind of, um,
right.
intertwined. I mean, I've had cardiologists straight out tell a patient when we were in the room that it didn't matter what he
Yeah,
eated, just, right after
yeah,
he had a heart attack. I think he did say, maybe reduce the processed foods. I think he did mention that, but he didn't talk about eating whole
Right.
foods. He didn't talk about any supplementation. He didn't talk about, you know, um, you know, the fats, all the fake food that's
Yeah,
out there.
they focus
So
on you need to reduce your fat intake. Well, that's a very broad
yeah,
spectrum. What about the good healthy fats that our bodies need?
right,
Yeah,
right. Because there's all the fake stuff out there now. So it's quite interesting, and they're brilliant. I always say that the doctors are brilliant in
yeah,
what they've been taught,
absolutely.
and what they've learned in the schools. So regarding the medications that they're taught to hand out in the labs, in the surgeries, et cetera. But when it comes to what I believe is health, and that's where you all have to we all have to
Right.
define health within our own way. But to me, fake stuff, pharmaceuticals, surgeries,
Yeah.
that's not what I
It shouldn't be
deem
the
as
first
health.
resort,
So
definitely.
yeah, that's my thought. So, but Clara, thank you. Anything else that popped into your head? Anything else you want to
I don't think so. Thank you for having me.
mention?
Thank you
Or
for
okay,
allowing me on.
yeah, thank you so much for talking about yourself and what you've gone through and your beliefs and then your business. And can you tell everybody real quick again your business name and where they can
Yeah,
find
so
you? Either
my business name is Platinum Body Sculpting. On social media platforms, it's Platinum Body Sculpting KC. I primarily focus on posting on Instagram. They're just more friendly to my content versus Facebook. And my website is platinumbodysculptingkc.com. So you can find a plethora of information
okay.
throughout those.
Wonderful. Thanks again, Claire, so much for being on with us. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Have a wonderful day.